aren't many big alternative media outlets. There's drudgereport.com, worldnetdaily.com, infowars.com, and prisonplanet.com, Newsmax to a certain extent. And there are a lot of other great sites. It's just they're not huge. And we are huge. And so we have the White House responding to us, attacking us. If you look at WorldNet Daily, 1 week before the book, Where's the Birth Certificate, came out, they had said there was no long form, that the receipt was it. Then they released the new one that was totally fake, been proven fake. I'm going to get into that new news that WorldNet Daily's been right on top of with Joe Arpaio and all the new demonization over that subject. But 1 week before, they come out and release the birth certificate, directly aiming it at WorldNet Daily. Folks, if I was really born in the United States, or I was who I said I was, I wouldn't even respond or care. Or I would have released it 4 years ago. Now we know why they haven't. It's because he officially put out through his own publicist for 16 years that he was born in Kenya. His wife said it. That was a cover story. They're hiding who the dad was. So I guess he can say with a straight face, it's Hawaii. The point is we knew a cover-up was there. The records are sealed. But we're going to get to that in a moment with Joseph Farah. My point here is they countered him. They had Esquire come out and say the book had been recalled and that they'd apologized and were giving full refunds for retail costs that would have bankrupted them, not just for the cost of the book, but what the store was going to sell it for. They acted like they were scared, and they responded. Then they released the bin Laden fable a week after that. I mean, they were acting like this was the end of their political careers. And so, Joseph Farah, you've never really talked like this, because I've been following you since 1996, so 16 years ago. I've never heard you talk about we're going to be hunted down if they get back in. What spectrum of data do you come to that hypothesis with? Because, I mean, I respect your vision and understanding of things, watching it so long, even before WorldNet Daily, running large papers around the country and running the Western Journalism Center. What are you getting at here? What are you expecting? You have the floor. Repeat what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, well, first of all, you know, I got a little experience. We lived through the Clinton years, and that was, you know, when WND was just first getting started, and we saw how they came after us. And it was pretty, you know, pretty brutal, pretty ruthless, pretty obvious with the IRS attacks and so forth. Then, you know, we went through 8 years of Bush. Well, you know, we were extremely critical of Bush. Believe me, I never got invited to the White House, you know, even though, you know, well, let's just say we were extremely critical. But, you know, there were no consequences to us. We weren't audited. We weren't attacked. I didn't think anybody was necessarily, you know, tapping my phone any more than everybody's phone is tapped these days. Then we enter the Obama years, and once again, I mean, we've experienced the attacks brutally, even beyond anything we knew during the Clinton years. So I know these people play for keeps. Now, more specifically, in answer to your question, I want to tell you about a book that we have prepared. It's coming out on August 7th. It's going to be huge. We have 50,000 copies pre-sold, and there's nothing Obama can do about it this time. It's called Fool Me Twice, and the subtitle is Obama's Shocking Plans for the Next 4 Years Exposed. And it's written by Aaron Klein, one of our reporters. He previously wrote Manchurian President, which was a New York Times bestseller. And this lays out exactly what these folks will do with their own words. In other words, you know, that's what investigative reporters do. They go, they seek out the documents from the committees and the organizations that are actually setting the policy for the Obama administration. Groups like, by the way, the Center for American Progress that went after you and me this week, that's one of them. You know, John Podesta's group. These are the policymakers for the Obama administration. These are not just cheerleaders for them. These are just not people who defend what they do. They actually set the policy. These are the brains of the operation. And so
it's worse than I was saying that these are front groups funded. You're right. These are actually the people running the Obama administration. These are the actual bosses.
You could say that, absolutely. In fact, you know, I'll bet you if you could watch and see who's entering the White House on a daily basis, you'd see John Podesta's name on there probably more than
well, sure, he was
else.
the transition head, and they admit millions from George Soros. They admit they have weekly meetings there with the George Soros funding both groups, but also Media Matters. And so what does it mean that front and center Infowars.com and WorldNetDaily.com are who they're going after on almost a daily basis?
It means we're hitting the mark. We're on target here, and we got them worried. Now, of course, what they do is they try to go after us. They try to do an end run. They try to intimidate Matt Drudge from ever, linking to any stories on your site or my site. My feeling about that is, Matt Drudge is an independent guy who has a great sense of news judgment. He's going to do what he does and what has made him so successful, regardless of anything they say or do. But that's the intent. The intent is to intimidate, they know there's nothing they can do directly to Alex Jones or Joseph Barra other than, killing them to get us to stop doing.
No, that's right. They know we're not going to stop, and so they're with shots in the dark. They're going after, to them the unknown Matt Drudge, but I know you know him well. It just shows what thugs they are, and they say Drudge is doing this dirty stuff. We've discovered it, as if it's not in public, on the biggest site in the world. Let's have the media go after him. Oh, my gosh, throw us in the briar patch. Oh, my gosh, have the Washington Post call me up yesterday about it to write a big article about Drudge. I mean, as if that's going to hurt Drudge or anybody else. Plus, I've got syndicated talk radio, dominating YouTube, dominating podcasting. I mean, I've got all these different tentacles, as they would see it. I would see it as legs. It's not like they're going to stop us just doing that. And it shows how pathetic they are. Tens of millions a year to run it. And they can't even get any traffic to their sites. They're a joke. It's the White House's attempt to have a fake media site. I mean, they're a joke.
Well,
but
they literally have, they understand what they have to do to get people to listen to them is they have to put a gun to their head. You and I, we don't put a gun to anybody's head to listen to us or to come to our website. And
that's what the new media takeover alerts are about, is where they force you to see it. But, I mean, getting back to this, so we're front and center on their radar screen because we're covering their takeover, their police state, their world government, how they're actually funded by crony groups to shut down their competition. They're very upset about us exposing them, shutting down power plants. They're very upset. So you were continuing why you think we're in so much trouble if they get reelected.
Yeah. So, a lot of it comes from the unbelievable, startling expose that I have already read in this book, Fool Me Twice. It's going to be really, really bad. If Obama gets elected, I think it's an irreversible situation for America. I think we'll be beyond the point of no return. It's just not going to be. We'll have to go and start a new country, basically, or we'll have to find some states to secede, and there'll be bloodshed. Even
Peter Schiff said it may take revolution yesterday on CNBC. I mean, that's radical for him. I think people realize this is a desperate situation. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.